Hi, good morning. Welcome into Black Belt Zen Live on YouTube. I am David coming at you with a late night video. This is an overnight broadcast as we are now at 1:11 a.m. on June the 10th, 2021. We're not in July yet, but we're getting there. I got July in my mind because there's some pretty cool stuff coming up especially that first week in July. But it's still June. It's 79 degrees out right now in Vegas at 1:11 in the morning. Very cool. I was just outside a few minutes ago. It was a nice breeze and everything. Much, much better. Almost feels like fall, but much better than what we went through last week. I went to the Knights game on Friday, and in the car as I was driving over there, 113 degrees. I think we were around record highs last Friday, Saturday, Sunday here in the desert. So it's cooled off quite a bit this week, and it's nice. Speaking of hockey, the Golden Knights are now 3-2 up on Colorado after losing the first two in Denver. They got whipped 7-1 in the opener, and they lost a really tough overtime game in game two. A game where they really outplayed Colorado, but weren't quite able to win. One of those games where they win everywhere but the scoreboard. Well, the scoreboard's the only place that matters. So that's kind of how that one went for Vegas. And then on Friday, I was fortunate enough to go to the game. Best seats I've ever had at a hockey game ever. I don't think I've cheered louder in my life than I did in that one. It was the first capacity game at T-Mobile Arena here in Vegas in over a year because of COVID. They opened up some new seats about a day or two before the game to go to full capacity for the first time since March of 2020. And it was great. The atmosphere was electric. Everybody was fired up. Vegas got the first goal, a William Karlsson goal in the second period, and then Colorado got the next two, led 2-1. The crowd felt a little bit nervous. We got to about the 8-minute mark of the third period, and Vegas is behind, even though, again, they've dominated that game. But it just got the feeling like, is this going to happen again? Are they going to be the better team and win everywhere but the scoreboard for 2 games in a row and then lose another tough game and fall down 3-0 to Colorado, which would be basically impossible to bounce back from? But no, they got a couple of goals late in the game and won 3-2, and the series has turned since then. They won 5-1 on Sunday, another game that I was at. And then last night, a really good game. They got down 2-0. Unfortunately, I didn't see it until the third period because I had my martial arts training. But they were down 2-0. Colorado got a goal late in the first, and then they got another goal, I believe, late in the second. I think again, I didn't see it. I don't quite remember if that's true, but they were down 2-0, and then Alex Tuck, who's been knocking on that door this entire series, finally was able to get one through. Kind of a weird goal. Kind of hit it like a baseball into the net. But that got Vegas on the board, and that kind of changed the momentum. They were able to tie it up. The game went to overtime, and then Mark Stone, the team's captain, scored the game-winning goal on a breakaway in overtime. Vegas won it 3-2, takes the series lead 3-2, and plays in Vegas today now because it's after midnight. Game 6, a chance to wrap it up against Colorado, and if they win, they play Montreal Canadiens, who swept the Winnipeg Jets. If Vegas loses, Game 7 will be back in Denver Saturday night. I think Vegas has to play like this is Game 7 for them. You do not want to go back to Colorado for Game 7 after losing Game 6 at home. So I think Vegas needs to play as if this is a must-win for them. And if they do, they get to play the Montreal Canadiens, and the winner of that one will go to the Stanley Cup Finals against either Tampa Bay or the New York Islanders, who have both advanced. You know, Tampa Bay has kind of become the sports championship city. You know, they had the cup last year, the Bubble Cup, if you want to call it that. They won the Stanley Cup last year on that kind of weird season where they were playing all their games in Canada in August in front of no people, and it's 100 15 degrees here in Vegas, and we're watching the Golden Knights play the Vancouver Canucks up in Canada. It's just so strange. So they were at home, but they weren't even in their home country, much less their home arena. So it was very odd. But Tampa Bay was able to win that. The Devil Rays got all the way to the World Series. They then lost to the Dodgers. And then the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl back on February the 7th. So Tampa Bay has got a Super Bowl ring, Stanley Cup title, and a World Series appearance in the span of, what was it there? About 7 months, and maybe less than that. Whatever it was. So now LA did get a basketball championship, and they did beat Tampa Bay in the World Series. So LA's got a couple of rings in there too. Talk more about basketball in a second, but that's sounding great for the Golden Knights in hockey. Hoping they can wrap it up on Thursday. If not, they will have another chance Saturday night in Denver. But I don't like the thought of going back to Colorado to try and win a Game 7 after losing Game 6 0. It's really tough to beat any team in the league 4 times in a row, especially Colorado, who had the best record in the league this year. But Vegas will have a chance to do it. If they play as well as they played in games 2, 3, and 4, they're going to have a really good chance. So we might see a Vegas Tampa Bay final. We almost saw that in 2018 when Vegas made it to the finals and lost to Washington, but Washington defeated Tampa Bay in 7 games. So we might have another chance of seeing that. Of course, the Capitals are already out, which I'm happy about because Tom Wilson and just get out. Yeah, garbage. Speaking of garbage hits by guys, Mark Scheifele had one of the worst, nastiest hits I've ever seen in game 1 of that series right at the end. And it just no attempt to slow down, no attempt to get out of the way. I understand you get frustrated and you're trying to make a play and stuff, but that's just you can't have that. And he got suspended 4 games, and I think the league did the right thing. And I think not only because of what he did, but for his own safety. If he went back onto the ice, if the league didn't take care of that, the players were going to. So I think the league got that one right. I talked before about sometimes leagues don't get suspensions right, especially the NHL. This year has been a couple of times where I just was frustrated with. The Tom Wilson one was the worst one, but there's been others in the past. And I think they got this one right. So credit to the NHL for that. Well, that might not be over. Maybe next year the players go after Scheifele as well to deal with that. Sometimes this stuff carries over. We saw that with Reeves and Wilson, and we've seen it with Kane and Reeves, and some of these other guys. It doesn't always just go away once the season's over if it's bad enough. And then we're going to talk quickly about the NBA. I'm not an NBA fan. I haven't watched an NBA game all year. The last time I watched an NBA game was the 2019 finals between Toronto and Golden State. Game 6, which Toronto won, was the last time I tuned in. I'm happy that the Lakers lost. Thank God. Thank God LeBron James is out. So he stormed off the court with about 5 or 6 minutes left in Game 5, where the Suns were blowing out the Lakers. I mentioned that, called him a crybaby. I tweeted out, he's the most entitled. Well, how did I say it exactly? I think I said LeBron James is the most spoiled crybaby I've ever seen. And that's true. And he is. And then he left Game 6 after the Suns beat the Lakers and eliminated them without shaking hands. And in the post game, he's promoting his movie. I mean, it seems like the guy doesn't want to play. He didn't get back on defense from some of the stuff I saw. There wasn't a lot of hustle. He kind of gave up on the team. And then today he said he's changing his number from 23 back to 6, which is the number he was when he played in Miami, and literally had King James written as the name in the back of his jersey. Oh, my God. I mean, here's a guy who I mean, I don't understand this lifestyle. Maybe if I was as pampered as this guy, I'd be so full of myself too, where I'd be writing, you know, King King on the back of my shirt. Or, I mean, yeah, who knows? It's crazy. But he's driving a Ferrari in high school. Here's a guy who's got movies. He's got sneaker deals. He's got, I think he's got about $1 billion of net worth now. He lives in a mansion that has costs more than most countries have. More money spent on that than most countries can muster up, or maybe not most countries, but some of them probably, a couple of them. Um, he's got endorsement deals. He's got an entire sports league pretty much at his fingers. One of the most popular in the entire world, even though the popularity is shrinking and sinking here in the United States, but still pretty popular, I think, over in China. I think they really like LeBron quite a bit, is what I hear anyway. So he's got all that going on, and he's got an entire media channel, entire media network, and ESPN, which is going to promote him and defend everything he does. So he's got almost everything going for him. And then things don't work out in this series where they get whipped by Phoenix, especially in the last couple of games, and he acts like a little baby. It's unfortunate. I think that's part of the reason that, along with a lot of other stuff, we don't need to get into it, but a lot of other stuff, that the study came out today or yesterday that said LeBron James is the most hated NBA player in the entire league, at least in the United States. And it's not a big surprise. Russell Westbrook is hated by some people, James Harden, Kevin Durant, but LeBron James was the most hated. That's not a big surprise. When you take a look at this guy, how much of a fraud he is, and how much of a crybaby he is, and he tells everybody he's the greatest to ever play, even though if you stack his resume against Michael Jordan's, by the time Michael Jordan was LeBron's age, he had won 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 league MVPs, a defensive player of the year, and he did it in fewer seasons. Jordan went to college and LeBron didn't. And Jordan retired and LeBron didn't. So he accomplished more in a shorter amount of time. And overall, he just did more for the game. He brought more people to the game. Well, LeBron James is pushing people away from the league. Michael Jordan's impact on the NBA and the game of basketball was so positive, and LeBron James is driving fans away. I'll remember Michael Jordan as the reason I started watching the NBA. I'll remember LeBron James as the reason I stopped watching. Comes down to that. And I'm not alone in that. Not even close. There's millions of people who are tuning out of the NBA. And it's unfortunate. As I said in the last video, it used to be one of my favorite sports leagues, probably my favorite sport league about 20 years ago. Always looked forward to watching guys like Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson and obviously Michael Jordan. And more recently, Steph Curry and other players. But I just can't support it anymore. I mean, LeBron James should have been suspended, probably, for the Golden State matchup in the play-in game, as I think is what it was, because he violated COVID protocol. Other players have been suspended for it. LeBron wasn't. The league will never suspend LeBron. He's just pampered and babied because LeBron runs the league. I'm not sure how many people realize that, but the players really do run the NBA more so than any players league. Now you're starting to see some more of that in the NFL. I think you're starting to see that with Deshaun Watson and with maybe Aaron Rodgers a little bit, but it's different in the NBA because those guys run the league. All right, I got off on a little bit of a rant. You're gonna see that I'm capable of doing that at times. Go off on a tangent. I know I've been doing a lot of sports in recent videos because we do that. like to talk about sports. I'm a sports fan, and especially, on specific areas like Golden Knights hockey and Tom Brady. And I'm a big fan of Patrick Mahomes. Not really a big Chiefs fan, but big fan of Patrick Mahomes. So I look forward to when we get into the fall and football season, talking some more about that. Probably going to lay off a little bit because we've done some of those videos. We're going to get more into spiritual stuff and personal growth, which is really what this channel is primarily about. If you enjoy this video and you want to learn more about spirituality and martial arts and personal growth and how to improve yourself, click the subscribe button and this will show up in your feed when we go live every week. And hit the like button if you enjoyed this specific video. Make sure that notification is on so you're aware of the new videos when they come out, because that otherwise it doesn't show up in your feed. Hit me up on Twitter at BlackBeltZen. Probably the fastest way to get in contact with me if you want to do that. I'm all over social media. It's talked about in other videos, but I'm not really very active anywhere other than Twitter. Right now, I will probably get more active at some point. So I want to thank you all for staying up late with me if you're watching this live. And if you see this another time, thank you for listening to me rant and rave for a few minutes, or 16 minutes now. We're a little over that. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Have a good night. Talk to you soon, everybody. Good night.